You're listening to the BBM Global Network with 25 years in broadcast audio and video production. Our passionate team creates content and marketing for the world of Internet Talk Radio. If you've got a passion, come join us at bbmglobalnetwork.com. The BBM Global Network. Your voice is now heard.
We all need self-expression. The most effective way to express ourselves is through words. But according to the Stuttering Foundation, close to 80 million people worldwide stutter today. This is Live Stutter-Free with your host, Anna Deeter. After years of practicing conventional speech therapy, Anna Deeter has pioneered a new and effective approach to this debilitating habit. So now, please welcome the host of Live Stutter-Free, Anna Deeter.
A good part of the day, and welcome to Live Stutter-Free with your host, Anna Deeter, on BBM Global Network and TuneIn Radio. Today, I will continue to answer endless questions about so-called mysterious stuttering sickness. Until now, these questions have never been answered realistically. But before I introduce our next guest and my hero, a former severe lifelong stutterer from Finland, and before I ask him to tell the story about his blocks and blockers, I would like to answer the toughest question that I receive frequently from shocked and skeptical people who stutter. They write to me, if you really have discovered 100% reliable stuttering solution, then why don't they give you Nobel Prize in medicine? To answer this question, I will use an analogy of another devastating condition that humans battled for centuries. But unlike stuttering, that condition really was medical and really needed the answers from doctors. So let's look at the history of typhus, an epidemic disease that caused millions to die in the previous centuries. Today, thank God, typhus outbreaks are rare. But back then, there were a lot of people involved in servicing sick patients and researching the cause and the solution for that mysterious, basically deadly disease. Finally, scientists solved the mystery of typhus. They learned to cure and prevent typhus outbreaks. The research doctor who discovered the lice that carried the typhus disease was awarded for his breakthrough with a Nobel Prize in medicine. We all are thankful to that doctor, of course. But what happened to the typhus industry when people all of a sudden stopped getting infected and dying from this disease? Hundreds of typhus hospitals were closed down, and those specialists that serviced typhus patients basically lost their jobs. Now imagine that what I share with you here is true, and millions of stutterers can be unblocked and can stop stuttering in only 3 days if the access to the revolutionary Etalon science is allowed to masses. If this happens, then What will millions of stuttering specialists do? Ever wondered? What will speech therapists, pathologists, psychologists, neurologists, psychiatrists, hypnotherapists, and other stuttering cure specialists, what will they make their living of? What will happen to thousands of organizations for stutterers, various speech clinics, centers, universities, all kinds of associations and foundations for those who stutter? And do not forget about all kinds of researchers, all kinds of inventors of various methods, techniques, devices, and drugs. Can you imagine how many people will be out of job? The caliber of this problem is just incomprehensible. How will we as a society solve this huge problem? Only together. Although the solution is not simple, of course, but it is straightforward. We Etalon educators and our liberated Etalon graduates must continue to spread the shocking truth around the world. Stuttering is solved. Every stutterer can be unblocked in only 3 days of the Etalon speech gymnastics, and he or she can begin speaking according to the natural speech norms almost instantly without any treatment, cure, or a long-term speech training. Truth is power. It empowers stutterers worldwide to finally rebel against the crime that each of them has become a victim of. Only by learning the bitter truth, they can finally awaken and stop to obediently accept the empty promises, inefficient treatments, useless devices, and harmful drugs from those who offer their criminal, professional help, assistance for their profit, getting paid for your professional assistance and not providing the result you promised to your patient is a crime. And it doesn't matter whether you have accepted the money from the stutterer's pocket or you got paid from the government funds, like you've charged their health insurance. It is still a crime against humanity. How much longer you people who stutter will continue to let others lie to you, intimidate you, abuse you, and enslave you? I'm an optimist. I believe in you much more than you believe in yourself. Why? Because I know that you all are healthy. You have an inborn natural potentials to speak adequately, just like everyone else. And you can do it now. You're not sick. You are just restricted with a set of blocks that can be removed like handcuffs, and you will be free to speak with ease like everyone else. Yes, you can speak normally right now. So why don't you? Because you are blocked. These blocks are invisible to you and other ordinary people, including your speech therapists, unfortunately, especially the ones who stutter and are blocked themselves. I know that the moment I will remove those restricting shackles off your body, you will immediately become free to move your speech organs adequately with ease. I have seen this happen hundreds of times, and it works every time. But let's listen to a person who was raised as a severe stutterer, who was abused many times by the so-called blockers, people who were supposed to free him from his blocks when he was young, but they failed to do so. So stay tuned. You will get to hear an amazing story of an amazing person, a former severe lifelong stutterer from Finland. Talk to you in a bit.
You've been listening to Live Stutter-Free with your host, Anna Deeter. Listen each week and learn how to become unblocked, liberated, and live stutter-free with host Anna Deeter.
Welcome back to Live Stutter-Free on BBM Global Network with your host, Anna Deeter. And today's guest is an extraordinary young man from Finland. His traits are honesty, perseverance, big heart, and his ability to work hard. So please welcome HUSSEIN from Finland. HUSSEIN, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Hey, good to hear your voice. It's kind of awkward to talk to you like this because when we were talking before, I could see you. Now I can't. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. So, you know what? Just introduce yourself before I go with my questions.
Okay, so first, thank you for your kind words. And yes, my name is Hussein. I am from Iraq, but I live in Finland. My parents, they escaped from Iraq war to Saudi Arabian refugee camp, and I was born there.
Mm-hmm.
And at the age of 3, we came to Finland, and here I went to kindergarten and to school and everything, like a normal Finnish kid.
Mm-hmm. Actually, you know what? You just mentioned normal Finnish kid. I remember you mentioned to me that that wasn't kind of a normal classroom. It was for children with some difficulties of learning.
Yes,
Was it?
yes,
Yeah.
it was like that. When I turned to 7, they sent me to school with people who had mental problems.
Yeah.
And
You're already going with your story. I want you to give a little kind of introduction of yourself. What is it that you do today? I know that you just you're attending kind of school and you're learning a new profession. So what is it that you're doing today?
yes, today I go to chef school,
Uh-huh.
and I'm planning to becoming a chef. And currently I live with my little brother as a roommate.
Oh, cool. So you are going to become a chef and I know that you're going to become the best chef.
Thank
No.
you. Yes, I will.
Okay, so let's go now back to your early childhood because once again, as every time I interview my former students and Stutter-Free, of course, graduates that were able to be unblocked in only 3 days some time ago. So I always am interested in how they developed their blocks and who were their blockers. So can you give a little bit information on where you were born? Was it just normal environment for a child?
No, it was not. It was a war zone. It was at Saudi Arabian refugee camp, and there was like fences around us.
Ooh,
Yes,
fancies?
and
Wow.
yes, so we cannot go from there to places.
Wow.
So we can't leave from there. There were soldiers, and so it was difficult circumstances.
Of course. And you lived in this kind of difficult circumstances till you turned how old?
3.
3. So I want to kind of make a little comment about this kind of living. So living in the environment with soldiers patrolling the streets and not being allowed to go anywhere, right? And to be
Yes.
in constant fear. I just want to emphasize how difficult it was for your parents. I'm sure they were very supportive parents, but it was really difficult for them to provide you a very stimulating environment to develop your speech normally, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes,
So
it's
what
just
happened?
like you said.
So what happened when you moved from refugee camp? Where did you move?
To Finland. Yes, and when I was like 7 or 8 years old, I had a speech problem. I stuttered, and when I asked my parents about it, they told me I got sick at the Saudi Arabian refugee camp, and I stuttered because of that. So I just kept speaking as a stutterer, and then when I was like 10 years old, they sent me to speech therapist.
Okay, so wait. Let's not go to speech therapists because speech therapists
Okay.
are the second kind of, maybe not the second, but one of the set of blockers are speech therapists. But before the speech therapist, so I want to emphasize your amazingly supportive parents. They wanted only the best for you. But because of the circumstances, they could not provide a stimulating environment for you as a young baby to develop your speech normally. And instead of kind of encouraging you to speak more, to repeat words, whole words more, encourage you to speak, they kind of listened to the opinion of the society. And they believed that you were sick, that there was something wrong with you after you got sick in the refugee camp, right? And you
Yes.
needed some help of professionals, speech therapists. So basically, your parents were the first set of blockers. Right now, we're coming to the commercial break. And when we come back, we will begin talking about the next set of blockers. I really want you to talk about them, okay, Hussein? So,
Okay.
dear listeners, stay tuned. This story is not like any story you have ever heard in your entire life. Talk to you in a bit.
You've been listening to Live Stutter-Free with your host, Anna Deeter. Listen each week and learn how to become unblocked, liberated, and live stutter-free with host Anna Deeter.
We are back to Live Stutter-Free with your host Anna Deeter on BBM Global Network and TuneIn Radio. And our guest today is a former lifelong stutterer from Finland. He was unblocked in only 3 days of the Etalon Speech Gymnastics. But we are not talking about it right now. Right now, we're interested to learn how he developed his blocks when he was young and who were his blockers. So, Hussein, what happened after your parents took you to a speech therapist?
Well, first, the speech therapist tried to understand me why I make mistakes, but it didn't work. I mean, she taught me techniques and ways of speaking, but they didn't work. And I told my family that I don't want to go there anymore because
I want to interrupt you. I just want to interrupt you again
Yes.
because I just want to make sure. So the speech therapist was teaching you, a 3-year-old baby, to speak with techniques at 3 years old?
No, I was 7 when they.
Okay,
Yes.
got it. I thought they took you there at 3. Okay, then continue. So you were 7. They were giving you techniques. You told your parents I don't want to go there. What happened next?
Well, they told me first that it is the right place for me because the teachers and apparently the doctors told them that. But when I persist on not going there, they agreed and told me that, okay, you don't have to go there. And I remember that I didn't like it at all because apparently it didn't help.
Right. By giving you all these techniques, the speech therapist made you aware of a big lie. So you learned the lie. I'm special. There is something wrong with me. Okay? I need someone to cure me. So meanwhile, did you speak a lot? At
No,
7?
I didn't. No,
Yeah.
I couldn't speak. Even if I tried, I couldn't.
Yeah.
I made mistakes.
Normal children, normally, they also make mistakes. But after they make a mistake, they just keep going. They just say this word and again until he learns the word and he says it correctly.
Yes, I
Normal.
didn't do that. I didn't. I
Exactly.
couldn't. I just
Yeah.
stopped speaking.
Exactly. And the reason for that, of course, it's not your fault. The fault is those who were around you at that moment, at that time. Instead of encouraging you, what do you mean you cannot say the word? Just say it. Say it. Listen how I say it. Listen to me. Hussein, listen. Say it this way. Did you say it? Good job. Say it again. Say it again. Say it again. Oh my God, you're
Yes,
speaking
yes.
now like a big boy. That's all. But instead, what happened in school? Were you encouraged to speak a lot by the
No,
teachers?
no, not at all. I mean, in school, they sent me to the mental problems school because I had speech problem. So they told my family that it is the right place for me, and my parents agreed to that. And in that school, nobody spoke there, and I was just silenced all day long.
Oh my God. So, can you imagine, dear listeners, just imagine this situation. A totally normal, healthy child. He just did not learn to speak because of the circumstances. He was in this situation when there was a war going on. Of course, he didn't learn to speak. But instead of teaching him to speak, they put him in the school for basically mentally retarded children where no one spoke. And if they spoke, it was a mess as well. So, what kind of example did you follow there, Hussein? Others who were also silent, right?
Yes, exactly. I mean, I remember when I came home, I kind of cried and told my family that I don't want to go to that school because everyone there is not like me. But they told me to be patient till we move from that city. And
Oh my
we
God.
moved to Helsinki, and here I got not normal school, but it was like extra observant school. So there also was problematic students, but not like mentally problems
Yeah.
like back then.
I just remember when you mentioned that there was a school for children with attention deficit
Yes, exactly, exactly.
disorders.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes,
And by the way, we didn't mention this is very important, Hussein. I want you to
yes.
give to our listeners this information. How many languages do you speak?
I speak 3 languages.
Okay, give
First
more
is,
information.
okay, so my native mother language is Arabic, and
Mhm.
the second language is Finnish because I lived my whole life here in Finland. So I speak Finnish very good. And my third language is English, and I learned that only for the sake of taking Etalon class because it was in English language. So I had to study English language and learn it, speak it, so I could take Etalon class.
And this little thing, it's not little, it's a big thing, inspired me to make HUSSEIN a hero of my free ebook. If you go to our website, the website of the Speech Academy Etalon International by Roman Alexeyevich Snishko, non-profit organization, the website is www.livestutterfree.com. You can download this free ebook and you can learn HUSSEIN's amazing story. It's the story of his life. He is my hero because what he's done, it's just incredible. So we're coming to the commercial break and we are going to discover what other blockers this courageous man had before he came to the Etalon Speech Educators and got unblocked in only 3 days. Stay tuned. You don't want to miss it. Talk to you in a bit.
You've been listening to Live Stutter-Free with your host, Anna Deeter. Listen each week and learn how to become unblocked, liberated, and live stutter-free with host Anna Deeter.
You have so many choices of listening to different shows. Thank you so much for being with Live Stutter-Free with your host, Anna Deeter, on BBM Global Network and TuneIn Radio. Today, we are listening to an incredible young man from Finland. We're learning what kind of blocks and blockers he had in his young life. So, HUSSEIN, you were in school, you were not speaking, your teachers were your blockers because they did not encourage you to speak. They were your blockers. So what happened after that? You turned 18.
Yes, so first, all of my friends left me and I was alone. And I knew that the reason for that was because I stuttered. Nobody wanted to hang out with me because I made speech mistakes. So I decided to get rid of my speech problem. I Googled and decided to go to speech therapies because it was kind of the only way back then. So I went there and I went to 3 different speech therapists. And none of them helped me, and I kept still stuttering and making mistakes, and it was like 45 minutes. It cost 70 euros, so it's like maybe $100 or something like that. It was really expensive.
And you paid out of your own pocket. It wasn't health insurance.
No. Actually, it was health insurance. Yes,
okay.
But I kind of paid. I don't remember. Maybe 10 euros or something like that.
Yeah.
From my own pockets.
Right, and I want to emphasize that. Of course, there are so many laws made in countries all over the world that also kind of claim that stuttering is a sickness. And this is why there are a lot of government funds are invested in helping people who stutter, because it's believed that they are sick and they need to be cured. However, even when speech therapists charge health insurance, it's kind of free to people who stutter. It's not costing them that much. The harm of such help is so unmeasurable. It's really harmful because speech therapists are the biggest blockers. They kind of reinforce the untruth that a person who stutters is sick and requires a cure, that he needs someone's help. He needs someone's assistance constantly for life. He needs to work on his fluency, and he needs to keep coming to different programs. Unfortunately, not even one other stuttering program in the whole world today guarantees 100% satisfactory. A person who is unblocked will become stutter-free, 100% guaranteed. Only the Etalon Speech Gymnastics, only we guaranteed with 100%. But you gotta understand, once again, what's gonna happen if all people who stutter all of a sudden stop stuttering? What will happen? Okay, we're not gonna go there because I really want to hear your story. So you went to 3 speech therapists. What did they promise to you? I just wonder.
Something like developing the stuttering. So I would be still stuttering, but I would be in control. Something like that. They never promised me that I will be speaking like normal people. They said they don't know why I stutter, and yes, so they didn't promise me that I would be speaking stuttering free.
Yes. So once again, they kind of reinforced, I don't know why you behave this way. You are kind of a genetic freak, or maybe something is wrong with your brain. Your brain is not wired appropriately. You are just basically sick, and just live with your sickness. It's incurable. This is what conventional speech and language therapists, pathologists, and other conventional professionals who deal with stutterers, this is what they know, they believe it, and this is what information they provide to stutterers. Unfortunately, this is a big misconception. And we are here not to blame anybody. People kind of get in the cognitive dissonance and they go, what do you mean stuttering is not a sickness? There are tests, there are brain scans that show that the activity of a stutterer's brain is not the same as in normally speaking people. Yes, it is. But the reason for that is that people who stutter are not using their brain adequately. This is what you had when you misused your body and mind and you made a lot of mistakes. But let's go back to your life. So 3 speech therapists later and a few years later, what did you decide to do?
Well, I decided not to surrender, so I went to Google and I googled about how to get rid of stuttering. And I came across lots of techniques and ways and programs, but I didn't like them. One of them told me about a pill that will affect my brain so I would be relaxed and things like that.
Yeah. Okay, Hussein, hold this thought because again they're interrupting us. We're coming to the commercial break. Let's talk about the pill. I really want to talk about it. Taking the pill for the lack of your skill. It's just insane. So you're listening to the live show, Live Stutter Free. Stay tuned. You don't want to miss the rest of it. Talk to you in a bit.
You've been listening to Live Stutter-Free with your host, Anna Deeter. Listen each week and learn how to become unblocked, liberated, and live stutter-free with host Anna Deeter.
And yes, we are back, Live Stutter Free, with your host Anna Deeter with BBM Global Network and TuneIn Radio. We are continuing our conversation with one amazing young man from Finland. He used to stutter severely for 18 years or 20 years of his life. So Hussein, you mentioned that you contacted a doctor and the doctor offered you to take drugs. Can you tell a little bit about this experience?
Yes, so basically he told me to take a pill that will affect my brain in some way, and it would make, chemical changes or things like that. But when I thought about it, I decided not to take it because, I knew deep down that there is nothing wrong with me. So I Googled more, and then I found you. And when I saw your videos and I read your book, I got convinced.
Right. So that was very interesting, kind of the way you told it, like blah, 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 like 2 seconds. But actually, how much time did it take for us to communicate before you got yourself ready to take the Etalon course?
It was like 2 years.
Yeah.
And first, I didn't speak English, so I used Google Translator, and also I didn't have money. So I decided if I was gonna take this Etalon class, I have to learn English and collect $6,000. And I made a plan to do that, and it took me 2-3 years.
Yeah, 2.5, I would say, right?
Yes.
And once again, I'm going to remind that if you would like to learn this incredible, authentic story of Hussein's life, you need to go to www.Live Stutter-Free. It's our website of our nonprofit organization, and download this book, the ebook. It's free. You don't have to pay a penny, and you will learn how 18-year-old little kind of man, young man, didn't have anything in his head. His head was filled with basically untruth, right? Untrue information. He didn't have any money. He didn't have any family support, financial support. So he didn't know anything. And he made it work in 2 years, learned English language, got a job, got fired. We're not gonna talk about this, right? Because if you want, you can go watch it on YouTube. So there's so much information. But let's just go directly to after the 3-day course. Let's go there.
Okay.
Got unblocked. Okay. So what happened after that? Can you just briefly explain?
Okay, so I went out to see my friends, and I did not stutter anymore. All my friends was surprised, and they were so happy. So, and my family, they were also surprised. They told me that they thought it was a scam, and they told me before taking the class that, don't worry if they steal your money and things like that. I went to Toastmasters club in Finnish language, and I won the best speaker title the first time. Then I went to English Toastmasters, and I participate there also, and also there I won the best speaker title the first time I spoke there.
Exactly. So you know what? I want to mention, wait. I want to mention, you're talking about it so lightly. I want to emphasize, can you imagine a man who learned to speak English in 2 years? Did you take any classes for learning English?
No, did you? Only home.
No, you did it totally at home. No one helped you. And I know that you don't talk about it. How many hours a day did you work to collect the money for the course? How many hours a day?
10 hours. And
that's it.
Sometimes more.
Sometimes more. Without days off, right? No days off.
Only Sunday. Only Sunday.
Oh, okay, so 6 days a week, 10 hours a day. Worked. And when he was not working, he was doing what? What were you doing? Learning English.
Yes, in the coffee breaks and other breaks, yes.
It's just incredible talking about a hard working man. He's just too modest. And also, when you, Hussein, mentioned that your parents were concerned that Etalon educators will steal your money, right?
Yes.
Yeah, they were concerned about scam. They
Yes.
did not realize, they were not aware that speech therapists and all kinds of conventional stuttering cure specialists do it all the time. They get your money, people who stutter. Maybe not from your pocket, but from the government's pocket. They get the money. They're very comfortable. They get a nice paycheck once a month, maybe twice a month. It's a different way. They charge your health insurance. They use this money. They steal money from stutterers. So I'm just waiting for the time when people who stutter stop accepting this robbery, legal robbery, and begin kind of being rebellious. What do you mean you can't promise that I'm going to be stutter free? I want to be stutter free. I don't want 50%. I don't want 80%. I want to be 100%. Okay, so let's continue. So yes, you became stutter free, you got unblocked. Oh God, we are coming to commercial break again. But when we come back, we're gonna talk a little bit about your Toastmasters International victory. I
Yes.
wanna talk about it, okay?
Yes.
So stay tuned. Talk to you in a bit.
You've been listening to Live Stutter-Free with your host, Anna Deeter. Listen each week and learn how to become unblocked, liberated, and live stutter-free with host Anna Deeter.
And this is Live Stutter Free with your host Anna Deeter on BBM Global Network and TuneIn Radio. And this is the last segment. We are continuing communication with an amazing man from Finland. So Hussein, can you briefly explain how you won the blue ribbon in Toastmasters International in Finland? I know they were supposed to give you just first timer, red ribbon, and they gave you the blue one. How did it happen?
Yes, so I participated and then I prepared my speech. Then I went there and actually I think I won it because of my story. In that speech, I told them my story fully. I told them how I lived before, how I stuttered, how my friends lived me, and how painful experience the army was. And
Oh, army, yes. You didn't even
Yes.
talk about army experience. Yes, it was painful.
Yes.
Mhm.
I told them my story and that I didn't have money at all and didn't speak English. And I also presented to them a video where I stutter. So they were touched about it. After my speech, everyone came to me and they told me that it was really inspiring and motivating them, and they thanked me, and it was a really amazing speech. So they chose,
so
chose
Hussein,
me
I'm
to
sorry.
win it.
Yes, I know. So we are coming to the end already, and I still need to take a little time to give information. Thank you so much for joining me, for letting me to interview you, because people keep telling me that I hire actors. Okay. So now you can hear that this is just regular, not very regular man from Finland, but it's a real man who had a real heartwarming, heartbreaking story. So if you want to watch Hussein's video, he actually filmed himself, right, Hussein? It's on
Yes.
YouTube. And the title of the video is From Stutterer to the Normal Speaker, right? Something like that.
No, to the best speaker.
To the best speaker. Yeah, the best speaker. So thank you so much for joining me today. Now I will just give some information to our listeners. Number one, if you have any questions about speech, stuttering, stammering, cluttering, whatever else they call this speech fluency disorders, please don't hesitate. Leave your questions to me. I am everywhere. Every social media platform, I am there. You can find me, you can reach me there, and I will be more than happy to answer your question. Please leave your questions under the link with this audio, okay, recording on BBM Global Network and TuneIn Radio website. Leave your questions there. You can also call during the live shows at 866-451-1451. You can always call my phone also. I am always available at 323-896-1214. And of course, you can email me, you can write anything, you can communicate with me through Skype, Facebook, anywhere you want. So the next show, we are not going to interview someone else. I decided to take a little break from that because I will give an amazing information about what stuttering really is, what is it caused, and other revolutionary information. You don't want to miss the next Friday show. Thank you so much for listening. Have a great day. Talk to you in a week.
You've been listening to Live Stutter-Free with your host, Anna Deeter. Listen each week and learn how to become unblocked, liberated, and live stutter-free with host Anna Deeter.
You've been listening to the BBM Global Network. The ideas, views, and opinions of this broadcast are those of the participants of the program and are not necessarily the ideas, views, and opinions of the BBM Global Network Company.